There is a truth very few people are willing to face directly. Most people do not truly begin a new day with their own will. They open their eyes and are immediately pulled away. Messages, pressure, work, worries, memories from yesterday, fear of tomorrow. And within just the first few minutes of the morning, they have already lost control of their minds without even realizing it. It sounds small, but that is exactly why so many people live the entire day in a state of reaction instead of intention. They are not living. They are only handling the emergencies of their lives. A Stoic does not begin the day like that. They understand one brutally sharp truth. If you do not direct your mind early, the world will do it for you, and the world never does that for your benefit. Morning is not just the moment you wake up. It is the moment your soul is the softest, the most open, the most programmable. Those first few minutes after opening your eyes will determine how you see that day, how you see people, how you see hardship, how you see yourself. So the real question is not, are you busy today? The real question is, this morning, who touched your mind first? You or chaos? This video will not give you empty motivation. I am going to give you 5 simple, short, but extremely powerful Stoic truths. If you say them to yourself every morning, consistently, clearly, consciously, they will change the way you step into the day. And when the way you begin changes, the way you live changes too. I am grateful that I am still here. Most people wake up as if being alive is something guaranteed. They open their eyes and immediately start complaining. Complaining because they are tired. Complaining because of pressure. Complaining because life is not the way they want it to be. But Stoicism begins on a deeper level. Before demanding that life give you anything more, realize that simply being alive is already a privilege. Marcus Aurelius once reminded us that when you wake up, remember that it is a blessing to still be alive, to breathe, to think, to love. That is not a quote to decorate your mood. It is a direct strike against ingratitude, entitlement, and a mind that always feels deprived. When you begin the day with gratitude, you no longer enter the day from a state of lack. You are no longer silently telling life, I am only okay when everything is perfect. Instead, you say, at this very moment, the fact that I am still here is already enough to begin. This is what pulls you out of autopilot, out of noise, out of the addiction to reacting, out of the mind that is always racing ahead of reality. Try something very simple. Tomorrow morning, before your phone, before coffee, before everything, take 3 deep breaths. Slowly, clearly, consciously, then quietly say to yourself, I am grateful that I am still here. Not to perform, not to fake positivity, but to remember that you still have time to correct your mistakes, to grow, to say what needs to be said, to live more honestly than yesterday. Weak people need drama to feel alive. Strong people only need one moment of awareness to realize that life itself is already a miracle. The deeper lesson, gratitude does not make you weak. Gratitude makes you harder for life to manipulate. Because a person who knows what is enough is not easily controlled by chaos. Yesterday does not own me. A lot of people go to sleep, but they do not truly rest. Their bodies lie down, but their minds keep spinning, replaying what was said yesterday, regretting a missed opportunity, feeling ashamed of an old mistake, carrying an emotional suitcase that they wake up and keep dragging with them again. So before the new day even begins, they are already tired. This is one of the most subtle forms of slavery, being hired by the past to carry its weight. Stoicism does not teach you to deny what happened. Stoicism teaches you to clearly separate 2 things: learning from the past and living in the past. Those are not the same. Epictetus said it clearly, it is not events themselves that disturb us, but the way we respond to them. That means yesterday may have been bad. You may have said the wrong thing. You may have failed. You may have embarrassed yourself. You may not have been good enough. But the important question is no longer, how did that happen? The real question is, today, am I still going to give it power over me? Tell yourself plainly every morning, yesterday does not own me. That sentence does not erase the past, but it cuts the rope, tying you to it. It draws a boundary. On one side is what happened, on the other side is what you choose now. And that boundary is freedom. Some people destroy their present simply because they keep reopening old wounds just to check if they still hurt. That is not maturity. That is an addiction to suffering. A truly mature person looks at the past as a teacher, not a prison. They take the lesson, then they leave. Tomorrow morning, if your mind starts filling again with regret, guilt, embarrassment, imagine them as stones in a backpack. Close your eyes, set that backpack down, watch it hit the ground, and walk forward. The deeper lesson, self-respect, is not about never having been wrong. Self-respect is about refusing to turn old mistakes into your new identity. If you are still listening at this point, stop for 3 seconds and comment just this one sentence. Yesterday does not own me. That is not just a comment. It is a declaration that you are done living as a prisoner of what has already passed. And if in the first 2 truths, at least one of them touched something you are carrying inside, hit like to mark this moment. Today, you begin taking yourself back. I control my mind. This is the strongest sentence, and it is also the sentence most people live their entire lives without truly daring to say. Because what is the truth? A lot of people do not live by awareness. They live by impulse. One upsetting text message and they lose their peace. One negative comment and they start doubting themselves. One small problem and their minds create a whole chain of terrible scenarios. They think they are thinking, but in reality, they are being dragged around by their thoughts. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." That is the core of inner strength. Weak people always try to control other people, outcomes, circumstances. Strong people return to the only thing that truly belongs to them, their response. Look closely at this. Not every thought that appears in your mind deserves to be believed. Not every feeling that rises in your chest deserves to be obeyed. Not everything loud is true. Stoicism does not tell you to kill your emotions. Stoicism teaches you not to kneel before them. Every morning, sit still for 1 minute. No phone, no music, no pulling your attention outward, just you and your breath. When thoughts rush in, do not grab them. Just watch them pass. Then say, "I control my mind." Say it like a declaration of sovereignty. Not because it sounds nice, but because it reminds you where your real power truly is. Carl Jung once said, in essence, whoever looks outward dreams, whoever looks inward awakens. That is exactly the difference between a person who lives by instinct and one who lives with inner authority. You do not need to conquer the whole world in the morning. You only need to stop your mind from being stolen in the first few minutes. The deeper lesson, whoever controls themselves controls the situation. Self-control is strength, not loud, not flashy, but deeply threatening to chaos. Kindness is one form of my strength. There is a very common misunderstanding in this age. Cold people are strong. Hard people have character. Sharp, distant, emotionless people look more powerful. Wrong. Many times what looks like strength is only defense. What looks like coldness is only insecurity in disguise. What looks cool is often just an ego trying to prove its worth. People who are truly strong are usually very calm. And because they are calm, they do not need cruelty to feel significant. Marcus Aurelius spoke of sincere kindness as something almost untouchable. But this needs to be understood correctly. Kindness is not weakness. Kindness is not allowing anyone to walk all over you. Kindness is not pleasing everyone. Real kindness means you are strong enough not to react from your lowest instinct. You are grounded enough not to use bitterness as proof of power. You are clear enough to see the pain behind someone else's roughness. People with inner strength usually speak more gently, but carry more weight. They respond more slowly, but more precisely. Not because they are weak, but because they understand. Losing your composure is handing power over to what is outside you. Tomorrow morning, before stepping into a world full of friction, say, "Kindness is one form of my strength." That sentence will change the way you walk into the day. You will be less reactive, less defensive, less desperate to prove yourself. And strangely enough, that is exactly what will make your presence feel heavier. People often think only sharpness creates influence. No, disciplined kindness is what people remember for a long time, because it is rare. And because it comes from an inner life that has been trained. The deeper lesson: kindness does not make you smaller. Disciplined kindness makes you more trustworthy, harder to shake, and deeper. That is not softness, that is dignity. If you have made it this far, you are beginning to see it. Real strength is not in speaking louder, but in standing steadier. If the first 4 truths fit the life you want to build, comment 1, 2, 3, or 4, whichever one hit you the hardest. I really want to know what you need most right now. More gratitude, more release from the past, more control over your mind, or more kindness while still keeping your edge. Everything is temporary, so I will fully live this moment. This is the final strike. And it is also the one that wakes you up the deepest. Today's pressure will pass. Today's joy will also pass. Sadness, success, failure, reputation, pain, every packed schedule, every burden that keeps you awake at night. It will all pass. It sounds cold, but in truth, it is one of the most liberating ideas Stoicism ever held. Because when you truly remember that everything is temporary, you cling less, you exaggerate less, you panic less, you stop treating every small problem like the end of the world. At the same time, you appreciate more. This cup of coffee, this quiet space, this light coming through the window, the person still sitting beside you today, the opportunity still in your hands right now. Seneca made it very clear. True happiness is to enjoy the present without depending anxiously on the future. In other words, peace is not in the next moment. It is in this one. Most people live as if life will begin at some other time, when work is done, when they have more money, when life feels lighter, when they are more recognized, when everything becomes easier to breathe through. No, life does not wait until then to begin. It is happening right now. So every morning say, everything is temporary, so I will fully live this moment. That sentence does not make you lazy. It makes you awake. It pulls you out of the imagined future and the haunted past and brings you back to the only place where power exists, the present. A person who is not present will never feel that anything is enough, no matter how much they achieve. A person who is present will begin to taste the depth of life, even in the smallest things. The deeper lesson, memento mori, is not there to make you fear death. It is there to make you stop living halfway. Remember this: you do not first lose your life in major tragedies. You lose it in unconscious mornings, in the first minutes of the day stolen by worry, stolen by your phone, stolen by the past, stolen by an untrained mind. A Stoic understands this. A strong day does not begin with motivation. It begins with grounding. So starting tomorrow, before rushing into the world, be still for a moment. And say these 5 sentences to yourself. I am grateful that I am still here. Yesterday does not own me. I control my mind. Kindness is one form of my strength. Everything is temporary, so I will fully live this moment. If you repeat them long enough, they will no longer be just sentences. They will become your character. They will become the way you carry yourself. They will become the way you walk into pressure without breaking. They will become the way you live in noise without losing yourself. That is real strength. Not loud, not rushed, not desperate to prove anything, but very hard to shake. If you made it this far, comment number 1. That will be the marker for you to remember. Real change does not begin with one loud dramatic life turnaround, but with one morning when you stop handing your mind over to chaos. And if this video is worth hearing again tomorrow, hit like, subscribe, and save it. Because some words are not meant to be heard once just to sound good. They need to be heard many times to be truly lived.